do it. I'm gonna trade my clerk for a Rockstar dame. Might even get my broker to change his game. Cause we all just wanna work with title rock stars and sell some hilltop houses closing 15 more. The cities come easy and the closings go quick. We'll all stay busy cause we just don't quit.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Rockstar Closers podcast. We are here in the beautiful Rockstar Vault Studios. My beautiful co-host, Nicole Malcolm with Rockstar Closers. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. And we have Superstar Agent. I use Superstar instead of Rockstar. Is that cool?
It's cool.
All right, because Superstar is my thing. Rockstar is your thing.
We can match
in the
them.
universe. Matt Aragona of the Aragona Group out of Compass Real Estate. How are you, sir?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
This dude is a complete powerhouse, and we're going to strip him down to the bones and hopefully get the full story and figure out how he's doing what he's doing. And who knows, maybe you guys will get a little couple nuggets for you there. Nicole, start us off. Give us Matt's story. Why don't you grill him a little bit?
All right. You ready?
Sure.
All right. So tell us where you're from.
I grew up in Delaware County, Springfield, Delaware County. Was born in Philadelphia at the Methodist Hospital in 1983. Grew up my whole life in Delco and then moved to the city in 2009. And I've been in the city ever since.
All right.
Yeah.
So what drove you to real estate?
What drove me to real estate? So kind of a roundabout story, but I was waiting tables in the city in 2009, 2010 and trying to decide, where I wanted to go with my career. And I had two options on the table. I was thinking about becoming a nurse and getting a degree in nursing. Or I saw on Craigslist that there was a rental agent job on Craigslist that I needed a real estate license for. That was paying an hourly rate, half month's commission. And
You remember what the rate was?
$15 an hour, actually.
All right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. So I was like, I can do that. I can wait tables. We'll see what I do. And then, I got my license and did rentals for a little bit, but realized sales is where it's at. And I took off from there. So.
Did you keep the database of rentals?
Yes.
All right.
Totally did.
So
yeah.
that became the gold.
That became the gold, and then it kind of part of the team story. Some of the people that are on my team right now were rental leads.
Nice.
Yep. So working the database, developing relationships, definitely one of the keys.
I'm curious to know, and it's funny, we already went right. We skipped your whole life, by the way. We skipped the whole life. I didn't do any of that. You got right into we will press rewind on this one. But now that we're here, maybe we'll go backwards. But as far as the whole business itself goes, I think a lot of mentors and leaders, because you're a leader. How many people are under you now?
I have 23 and something.
23, that's normal.
Yep.
So do you think it's important that everyone understands the painful beginnings and have to really work through that? Because, there's differing opinions in the business and in the industry. And when you brought up rental listings, I always think of when you start out that way, you really learn people from the beginning stages
Sure.
of home, anything, getting their own space to then ownership, selling. So I don't know what your take on that is.
Do you mean like from a client perspective?
Yeah.
I don't know that you need to. I mean, I don't know that you need to work from them as a tenant to the full life cycle. I don't know that that's important necessarily, but I think as an agent.
Yeah.
Especially a new agent working with renters is probably one of the easiest ways to start making money.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's good money in it too.
There is very good money in it.
I think people underscore, especially in a big city.
Yep.
So on a rental, you get what? Is it 50% of the first month?
It's usually 50% of the first month.
So 50% of the first month, an average rent in Philly, what now?
Say $2,000.
$1,000.
$1,000, yep.
You get $5, that's $5,000.
That's right. And if you're doing it efficiently and you're only working an hour or two doing the rentals, then you're making $1,000 an hour, $500 an hour.
That's pretty dope.
It's not bad.
That's pretty. I think people don't. That's crazy. I want the $1 million. Why? Yeah. If I got $10,000 a month in rentals, that's.
Well, that's why I got my license. I was doing the math. Yeah.
Listen, dude, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go backwards a little now?
Yeah. So
forward, backwards.
So what age?
Show's over. That was it.
What age were you when you wanted to get into real estate?
I was 27.
27.
Yep. So
okay.
I would consider that young for a realtor.
Yeah.
There are people that get in a little younger, but
Yeah.
I was still pretty way behind the years at that point.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So did you go right from high school to college?
I
or-
did. So I graduated Cardinal O'Hara in 2001, went to Penn State, 4-year degree there, got a business degree from Penn State, and then immediately
You
got
said
into the
that very
workforce.
stately, as if you didn't party or do anything.
Well, I went to Penn State, Delaware County, so I commuted to college.
I went to Penn State. We were all serious.
Yeah. There is partying in the story that we won't talk about. But Penn State was great. They really got me very business-minded.
Is that Schmiel? Schmiel.
Yes.
Schmiel
Yep.
School of Business.
Schmiel School of Business, yep, you got
Yeah.
it. So Penn State was great, and a lot of what I learned at Penn State, I really brought into the real estate business, which was great. From
Okay.
business planning, entrepreneurship, just the overall life cycle of a business.
We don't hear that often.
No.
How many
Yeah.
people actually learn it in school?
I know.
And, wow.
So it took 6 years from graduating at 21 to getting my real estate license to actually start applying it.
Sure.
But it was there.
Yeah.
It was definitely there.
You had the aha moment.
Yeah.
So what was the most valuable class in college that applied to real estate?
I had to create a business. So I had to create a business and do a full business
Oh, I
plan
want to hear
on it.
this. What was the business?
Opening up a club.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. What
Yep.
kind of club?
It was going to be we were going to call it Club Geo, and it was going to be different themed like bar areas, kind of like what the heck was it? Polyesters. Do you guys remember polyesters?
Yeah.
So that was kind of where I got.
Where was
you're probably
that?
too young.
No, I'm older than you. Please give me a compliment. I was born in 82, man.
There you go. So we were probably both too young to go to polyesters. That's
Yeah.
we probably closed down before we were 21. But that was over on Arch Street, like right by the convention center.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this idea of like different themed areas, kind of like a Disney-esque, so you go to like a New York City street thing or like a jungle area or like so. That was the idea, and how to write the whole business plan out from a monetization of it, extra strategy, all that stuff.
That's
And
pretty cool.
I use that business plan whenever I'm helping somebody build a business plan.
That's a smart idea, because the one thing that I think most agents don't realize is it's a self-employed business.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting when you start to change the way you think, and that actually made you think in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty dope. Did the club ever come to fruition?
No. Need millions of dollars.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, that's really so. Cardinal was it Cardinal Doherty?
O'Hara. Yep.
I was getting confused.
It's all good.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that all guys?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yep.
You the athlete? What are you doing?
I did stage crew, so I was in the theater
Ah.
program. I was stage manager. I did sound. I was in the front
Everything
row.
behind. You never
Yeah.
got on.
No, I was on in senior year.
What was the show?
Titanic.
Were you Leo?
No. I was a second class passenger that went down with the ship, but I was not Leo.
Kate Leo? No. All right. So where did you wait tables? Like this is the good stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Was it a good restaurant?
So
did you get any good food?
Absolutely. So that's actually a really good story. So I waited tables a bunch, over the years. But when I was in the city, my friend Mark Tropea, who's on my team currently, owned a restaurant.
He's not related to the guy from South.
Different Tropea.
Okay.
Probably from the same family
Oh,
tree, but
guaranteed.
they have no relation.
Big lineage. Big tree.
So Mark opened up that restaurant in 2009, and I waited tables there till 2012 when he shut it down. And then by that point, I was kind of getting good momentum in my career, and I was able to transition from doing a couple side hustles like that to being a full-time realtor.
Yeah, and that we hear that a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do. And it's interesting because the hardest part is the figuring out when do I give up the stable part to then do the unstable part, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got to know your
Scary.
budget. You got to know how much money you need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know that actually in this business.
Most people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably still don't know, and I'm a lender. It's probably not. Don't publish this.
We can do business plans.
I mean, to look at that business plan. So when you start off, and I love these stories because did you tap your normal sphere? Was you being in the restaurant industry where you started to build off
No,
of?
not at all. Actually, I mean that has definitely benefited me over the years, but it actually benefited me from like people on my team. So one of my first assistants, Zoriana, I worked with at the restaurant. She was like 22 when she joined the team as an admin. Mark recently got his license about 3 years ago. He got out of the restaurant industry. Now he's a powerhouse realtor himself. So a
Is
lot
that
of
a good
connections.
breeding ground? I feel like everyone says that. It's
Service
like
industry.
If you've been able to succeed in that arena, it's usually restaurants, right? I mean,
Yeah.
service in general, but
And
if you've been
bartenders,
and
too.
bartenders, but hospitality and
Yeah.
that
Well,
makes
it's client
sense.
care. You got to take care of your people.
That's true. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And if you can do it with like a plate of pasta and a smile, and you can do it with a home, right?
That's right.
Very true.
Gotta listen.
So wait, so did you tell me the restaurant? Did I miss that?
Sonata. It was over in Northern Liberties on American Street. Great place. BYOB.
Is that one of the famous restaurateurs? Or?
No.
No? Were you there at the beginning?
I was.
Are they still there?
No. Closed in 2012.
And what was the food?
American, contemporary American French.
And was it
Very good.
anything like what's the show? The Los Angeles show that they with the bar and the restaurant. Oh, come on, you know.
Hell's Kitchen?
No, what's the show? I'm gonna remember it on Bravo. It's the whole drama with the whole crew. And were you guys all tight? Everyone socialized?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Yeah, partied after.
Oh, yeah.
Was there like an industry night?
Yeah.
See, I know
know,
that.
you said these
That
things.
sounds cool. Like it's like intrigues me. Like I didn't get it. I was not cool. So I'm from the outside looking in. I'm like, it's kind of sexy. It's like when you smoke parliaments and you want to do it. You know?
Camel crushes.
So you're doing the rentals. How do you transition? So rentals go to sales.
So from like, you know, if you want to do it right,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're trying to build a database, you know, because I grew up in Delaware
This
County.
is where you want to.
Yeah, this is
note
listen.
the times.
Yes.
Go ahead. 23 people. So each of this part, stop and start. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's all about, and Nicole, you know this. You know, you recruited me into Title with working with you, but it's all about the relationships and the conversations,
100%.
right? So you need to set a goal of how many people you need to talk to every week. I was at Keller Williams when I got licensed originally, and they set a goal for you that you should talk to 100 people a week. 100 conversations a week.
Now, is that bold? Is that
Yes.
bold?
Yep.
And from a training perspective, did that help you?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so 100 people a week.
Yep.
Walk me through that. So, were you strategic? Was it just I'm going to walk down the street? Like, what was your?
I door knocked. Yeah, I door knocked in the
knocked.
beginning. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely door knocked. I got one of my first listings from door knocking.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that intimidating?
You gotta know what to say. So it's, you know, I was door knocking expired leads. So expireds back in 2011 were around because of the market crash in
Right.
09. So there was a lot of people door knock. I was door knocking 19147. I was living in Queen Village at the time. And I sold a house on Catherine Street from door knocking. It took about a year from door knocking to getting it sold. But, you know, that definitely worked. If you can't get a phone number for somebody, gotta go knock on the door if you want the
Yeah.
listing.
That's got to
you
be
know?
rewarding though
It was.
for a whole year,
Oh, yeah.
and then finally settling.
Yep.
Like
Yeah. So back to the 100, you know, door knock is one way to do it. You know, back in 2011, you know, you could get people's phone numbers on the internet pretty easily for free. There's a thing called Zaba search. So I compiled a list of all the expireds in that area, try and found phone numbers, and, you know, would call those people as well. So calling people, door knocking, doing open houses, talking to your database, getting everybody's contact information off of Facebook at the time to get on a drip campaign for emails, and just constantly marketing to people.
So what is fueling your passion and your motivation at that point?
That's a good question. So 14 years ago. I mean, being successful, you know, and I really liked it. So the freedom of being an entrepreneur is great. You also have to have structure, which you were talking about a second ago, but not when. Prior to the restaurant, I was working for a recruitment firm that I got laid off from when the market crashed. And I promised at that point I would never work for corporate America ever again, and I haven't. And I hated having a boss. I hated having a boss. I hated the dangling carrot. You know, so I've set my goals in real estate, and that's what I do
fear
today.
of having gone back to that.
I don't know about that. I was never going to go back to that.
Yeah.
There was no fear there. No, you know, I just liked it. I liked the freedom. I liked, you know, yes, what I liked about real estate. I like houses. I like going in houses and seeing different houses and different neighborhoods, and, you know, just meeting people. So it's good.
did you ever envision yourself having this big of a team?
No, absolutely not. My first vision was making my first 100K. That was like the first goal, was get to $100,000 in GCI, gross commission income. I did that by year 3. And then off to the races from there.
Now, is that typical to be able to make $100,000 in the third year? Like, what do you think is realistic for agents to expect?
If you do the things that I was talking about, yes. Most people
So wait,
won't do
repeat
the
that.
hard
So
work.
the 100 in a week.
100 talk to 100 people in a week. Yes.
What else?
That's it. Set appointments. Talk to them. Set appointments. Get in front of them. Yeah. And
You
be the
could
real
do
estate
that. You
expert.
could do that easily.
I know, like,
What are you doing?
I talked to a lot.
You talk to yourself. Like, come on.
That's a whole different episode.
Therapy sessions.
So what? And this is just me prying and picking. As you're perfecting your pitch, do you have it in your mind? Do you have something structured, or are you just acclimating to the conversation?
So with like expireds, there's a script,
Yeah.
but you do acclimate to
Is
the
it
conversation.
a Tom Ferry script or is it?
Yeah, Tom Ferry. Yeah, Tom
Okay,
Ferry
there you
scripts.
go.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Tom Ferry scripts, and you make it your own. So
Yeah.
you should internalize the script.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's got to sound like you.
Right.
And then you got to know like the clientele that you're calling. So if it's an expired from like 2 years ago, it's a whole different script than calling an expired that expired yesterday. You know what I mean?
All right. So you're picking up momentum.
Oh yeah.
You have your swag. You know what you're doing. You're confident in that.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's year 3, year 4. You're saying.
Year 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then at that point, when do you start thinking, all right, I can then bring people under me?
So the KW model in and around this is about 3 deals a month. When you're closing 3 deals a month, you should hire your first administrative assistant. And then as you build that, then you hire another admin to just do transactions. So you got somebody helping with everything and then somebody doing transactions. And then you start building the team from there with agents.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
That's how I did it anyway.
It's a sound business model, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Work for me.
Okay, and then are you switching the way you're doing business as you're growing? In a sense, obviously, I know this is what everyone tells me. It's the fear of being able to feed your family, right, as it grows. So how are you starting to manage your own business on top of feeding them or taking care of them, or do you do it differently?
So I do it differently. So I do provide leads as a team, but that's grown as well as we've gotten bigger. We're a very big Zillow Flex team right now. Don't need to get into that unless we want to talk about it a little more. But
We talk about everything.
good. So back to like not having a boss, right? So I've built a culture where I am not the boss. I'm a team lead. I'm your coach. I'm your mentor. I'll hold you accountable. But no agent on the team has a specific criteria that they need to meet goal-wise to be on the team. So I can have somebody on the team who wants to sell 20 million. I can have somebody on the team who wants to sell 5 million. They're setting those goals for themselves, and I'm helping them get there and make sure they're reasonable.
And you call them out on their BS.
Sure.
Yeah.
I try not to have people that have BS on the team, but when they have BS.
But I like that. I think some people
I gotta say, like everybody that I've met that's on your team are so laid back. So, and maybe that's just my experience. I don't know, but they're all like you. You know what I mean? And I think that's by design. You attract what you are.
Absolutely.
And I love your people.
Thank you.
They're
Do you
great.
think your
They
team's
really
laid
are.
back?
You guys are good.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's why we work together well.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to know your
absolutely.
own opinion on it. That's all.
Yeah. Do you? Do
Yeah, I
you
do.
think they are?
I think everyone's too laid back for me. What are you doing over there?
That's true.
Not this guy again.
But it's your laugh. Like
Yeah.
we just love. We're so attracted to your laugh. Like
But you wouldn't mind if I kept it quiet a little bit, you know. It's
no,
still-
I actually like your enthusiasm.
Yeah, I'm a little nuts.
Good mix.
Yeah, it's fun to shake it up a little bit.
So you were predominantly, and you're not now. You're spread out, but started in the city, built in the city.
So I lived in the city, so I
The
did
Delco
build there.
guy, I did heard the Delco.
Well,
part,
so
yeah.
the Delco part is my sphere of influence lived in Delaware County, Chester County, right?
No, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Delco.
Sure.
I love the Delco stuff. So let's go there. Where in Delco were you?
Springfield. So I grew up in Springfield, then I moved to like Drexel Hill and Media.
Oh yes, you did all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did that. You did all the
I know Delco. Yeah.
You know Delco real well.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you have like favorite food spots?
No.
Are you a food guy?
Well, I am, but I'm in the city. There's no good food
Yeah,
in
that's
Delco.
just, you know what? That's 100% right.
Sorry.
I moved to
Sorry,
South-
Delco.
It's true.
It's true.
That's true. I struggled.
Let's go viral with that. There's no good food in Delco.
Don't cut that. It's true though. Once you're in the city forever, it's like you can't. Nothing's good enough.
Yeah.
The pizza, the cheesesteak.
Yeah. There's so many options in the city. You know.
And like I like a variety of food.
Yeah.
So like you don't get good variety out in the suburbs. It's like 16 million pizza joints and
Yeah.
But
Good stuff in media is good stuff in Westchester.
yeah,
but,
media's got its own vibe.
Totally.
I like the
Little
whole
city.
main street and yeah. So do you have a satellite out there, or how do you guys do it?
No, so my team lives all over the place. So I have people live in the main line, people live in Drexel Hill, people live in the city, people live in Bucks County. So
Okay.
so they tend to sell in their areas, but nobody's pigeonholed or niched to any specific area.
And where's your team office in the city?
We're in the city, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're in the center
Yeah.
city.
So you've been in Philly real estate for how long?
14 years.
Okay, so I want to hear your take on this because everyone has their own opinion. Philadelphia is like all over the place, ups and downs and ups, and it's growing, it's this and that. Walk me through what you saw getting in and what you're seeing now and then where you think it's going, because I think as I always say this, I still think it's an undervalued city.
Totally.
I really think that it's one of the most affordable major cities in the country. And I think from an investment perspective, because everyone does I want to live there when I'm young and then I want to move out. But hey, I want to invest. Or I might come back in, right? So there's the whole life cycle of it. I still think it's a good investment. I really do.
Don't you think there's a lot of comparison to New York? Like, I feel like there's some parallels there.
I think the closest parallel would be like Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like Brooklyn itself is like Philly.
Okay.
But I think like, if we're talking Manhattan and everywhere else, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Like we don't touch the Manhattan
Yeah.
market.
No.
Yeah, it's not even close,
I think Manhattan really hit, it popped really hard a couple years ago. I mean, they were struggling.
Yeah.
Like, especially with the COVID stuff for a while.
It's back from what I understand.
It is back.
Yeah.
It is back. The value, it's Manhattan.
Well, that's the thing about real estate. Real estate will always come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It always will. So to answer your question, I got in 11, and we had just, we were on our way out of the housing market crash, right? But we were still at the bottom. I mean, I don't know when you started lending, but
I started lending in 16.
okay,
but
so you were 5 years after that,
I was
when
after.
the market was back to normal.
Yep.
I didn't know any better, but in 2011, like people couldn't get mortgages. Like that's not a thing anymore. Like if you qualify for a mortgage, you're getting a mortgage. Back then, it was hit or
we're going to
miss.
find a way to get you qualified.
Right. Absolutely.
We're going to find a way to get it.
But back then, FHA guidelines were very tough. But I didn't know. Like I was like, what do you mean? Like these people qualified, and so I never had any of the PTSD from like the market crash. So I just got in at the bottom. So timing was perfect to start building a career in it. The thing that I didn't experience is the crash happened 2 years before I got in, but the Philly market kind of was safe from the bubble. There wasn't as big. The thing that got hurt the most in the city market was the condo market. Condo market was way overvalued, and that's where all the short sales were happening in the city. But a regular row home house in any neighborhood, didn't really take the same hit that like other areas in the country, like 20-30%. Philly was maybe 10.
Yeah. To me, I bought in 2012, and we bought on 8th Street, and people that don't know that, it's right near the Italian market, and it's Bella Vista, but it's next to Queen Village, and it's like one of my favorite neighborhoods. Like, I love it. It's just quintessential. It has everything in there. We paid $350,000.
Yeah.
Like, it was nothing. And then when COVID hit, we sold for $620,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like,
doubled.
It was like, it was like wild.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where it's like, you're not touching that in New York.
No.
Like, you're not even coming close. We had 3 bedrooms. We had 3 bathrooms. It was like, and to have that is just, so what is your take? So, and you don't have to speak negatively about the neighborhoods, but what is your, so you have the Northern Liberties, then you have that Queen Village, Bella Vista part. What is a must, I guess, for people that are looking to get into Philly from like a buying perspective? Where do you think the hot area is now neighborhood-wise?
Oh, that's...
I'm gonna test you, man.
No, it's good. No, I love it. I think all of the center city neighborhoods. So anything, the ones you just labeled. So I'll go with all of them: Fairmount, Art Museum, over to Northern Liberties, over to Fishtown, come down south, Old City, Center City, Rittenhouse, Fiddler Square, and then Graduate Hospital, Queen Village, Bella Vista, and Passyunk. They're all,
they're all
solid neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those neighborhoods. Yeah. And the thing, kind of go a little layer deeper, they all have like really nice commercial sectors. So restaurant scene, shopping scene, a lot of mom and pop. So people, that's why you live in the city, to be able to walk to that and enjoy it. So if a neighborhood has that, it's stable. It's stable and growing.
That makes sense.
If it doesn't have it, like a Point Breeze or Newbold's on Broad Street, but it's kind of like adjacent to Point Breeze. Those areas just don't have.
That makes sense.
The
They don't have the
feel.
artery.
Right.
They don't have the artery.
So they're hit or miss. Like you can, if you buy at the wrong time in that neighborhood, you could get pinched if you had to sell quick.
That makes sense.
Yep.
That really does. That makes a lot of sense. Huh.
Brewery Town's the same way. It's good neighborhood, but on the fringe. So if you're in a fringe neighborhood, there's value, but you got to be cautious.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, and I know this is going to be true, and I'm going to spotlight her a little bit, but as you build the people that you work with, we call your trusted partners, right? And you can highlight them. Other lenders are fine. I'm not. That's fine.
We don't talk about lenders. Title.
But my point is, how important is it in the way you do business and how you selectively choose the people you work with.
It's the most important.
Yeah, and
I need to be able to say, hey, we're going to use Affinity for title. They're my go-to partner, and then I don't worry about the deal. When I get under contract on a deal, I shouldn't have to worry about it ever again.
Yep.
If I'm worrying about it, I'm not working with that person again.
that makes sense.
It's not happening.
Well said.
Yep.
Well said. How long have you guys been?
2013?
Yeah.
About?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
You're an OG.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any cool T-shirts, or if not,
Sure
you're
I
walking
do.
out with? Yeah, it's.
I have all these.
You have this stuff?
I have the good
You have the
stuff.
paraphernalia?
Yeah. That is the good stuff.
So, what's the trajectory for you at this point?
Keep growing the team to 30 producing agents, and then that puts us probably in the $150 to $200 million a year sales
Wow.
goal. Yep.
Sick, dude.
Yep.
Sick.
That's it.
Awesome.
And then retire at
And then
55.
sustain it?
Yeah.
And
sustain
retire
it.
what?
55.
He said it. 55.
That's the goal.
Dude, I wish.
I don't think I could ever
that's not even that
retire.
long from now for me.
Semi-retire.
Semi-retire. Always got to be doing something.
I'm also I'm a Tom Ferry coach. You mentioned Tom
Oh,
earlier,
cool.
so I've been doing that for 2 years.
How awesome. You
So
know
I'm
what?
gonna continue
That's
doing
a
that.
great segue. So I love it. Tell me about that.
What do you want to know?
How do you get in? What do you do? What do you teach people? Give me the whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when the team was like at 18, 19 agents, this is in 22, I guess. I was thinking about this. I don't want a 50 agent team. I said I want a 30 agent team, so I'm close to getting to there. I like coaching. I like that aspect of the job. I like helping each agent on my team build their business. So I wanted to kind of transfer that skill set to helping other agents without having to bring them on the team. So I reached out to the Tom Ferry organization in 22, got an interview immediately, and got into the coaching program. And it was
And explain that. So, for people that don't know, Tom Ferry is probably
Best
the
real
most
estate coach.
well-known
Absolutely.
real estate coach.
Yeah.
And that's all he
I think
does
so.
is real estate, right?
yes,
Yeah, he is
business
the name
real estate,
Right,
but
right,
real
right.
estate.
all real estate.
And
is.
what is his? So I'm guessing you were a student first.
So they have training cohorts periodically, and I got into the January of 23 class.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and I want people to understand this because maybe you can speak to the importance of coaching,
Oh yeah.
right? Because it's big in real estate, right? And for people that have never done it or who are afraid to invest in it, I'm curious if you can shed light on for lack of a better term, the ROI.
Sure. I mean, if you're willing to work and you want to learn how to do this thing, you should have somebody that knows more than you that can help you get to where you want to get to. And I mean, I think the ROI speaks for itself there. If you know what your goal is and you need help getting to that goal and building a plan.
And it's also the commitment, obviously. I mean, you can
100%.
buy a gym membership, but that don't mean you're going to use the
That's
gym.
right.
You
That's
gotta want
right.
to do it.
That's
You
right.
gotta want to, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't say just do it for the
I
sake
have a
of
gym
doing it.
membership.
It's 5 days a week, right?
Yeah. What's today? What financially? What kind of a commitment is that? Like for people that are looking to get into it.
It's I don't want to go into the specific numbers. I don't know that I can,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I'm gonna ask
it-
every
it-
question.
it's affordable.
Yeah.
It is a cost.
Yeah.
You can do 2 sessions a month or 4 sessions a month with the. Tom
And they're
Ferry
one-on-one?
organization. They're one-on-one for a half
Okay.
hour. Yep.
Okay. And then what about his bigger events? Like he does.
Oh, they're great.
Now, how does that work?
What do you mean?
Is it like a big, like you can buy a ticket?
Yeah.
Does he do like a big?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And does he go all over the country for that?
So he does smaller events all throughout the country, and then there's 2 big events. One's called Summit in Dallas at the end of August.
Okay.
Great event. That's everybody goes to that one. And then there's a thing called Elite
How much is
Retreat.
that? Can you tell me that?
I think like $1,000.
$1,000. Oh, that's
Yeah.
not bad. That's actually not bad.
Maybe be a little less.
I think Tony Robbins is $1,000 a minute.
Yeah.
So it's like Date with Destiny's a second mortgage. Like that's not bad. Actually.
No,
That's
no.
really that's worth it. That's 100%.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
worth it. Yeah.
What is I mean, I'm sure he has multiple layers of what he teaches, but is there a premise? Is there an overarching like behind his principles or
I think what Tom does a really good job of is he's always evolving to where the market either is or will be. So he's always ahead of it. You know what I mean? Like last year was all about lead generation pillars. So you need to have different income streams of lead gen to succeed in your business. Most people have 1 or 2. You need 3, 5, 7, 10 different income streams or places that your leads come from. So that was his big thing like a year ago. And now I'd say in the last 6 months or so, it's appointments, get in front of your people. Simple stuff, right? Nothing crazy, but directing it to the pulse of where the market is. I think this last year it's become not that it wasn't always this, but truly relationship build. You know, go deeper into your database instead of trying to build it wider. You know.
Now, does he is he good for people at all aspects of the business? Like, can he teach someone brand new?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, he can. And then someone who's pretty much at a wall or stuck.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Every level to CEO, legacy planning.
That's pretty cool.
So brand new to legacy planning.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very
7
cool.
levels.
So tell me how you become the coach. So you called, applied.
So I reached out and I scheduled an interview, and my criteria being a team leader, as long as I was in the business, how I was doing it all kind of qualified me. And then
That's cool.
It was.
That's
It was.
cool.
And
It makes you legit. It's like the check symbol on
well,
Facebook.
you know,
Right.
Matt check.
absolutely. I'm also specifically proud of this that I was not currently in the coaching program at that time, and I still got into the actual training.
Did you tell him something specific?
I just was good. I'm good, man.
Were you just like, listen, man, like I'm gonna kill it? Like,
I told him why I was in it.
Yeah.
I truly love the coaching.
I mean, you're
aspect
being
of
humble, but
business.
I kind of want you to be a little precocious.
I gotta be a British. No, I love coaching people. I love helping them build their businesses. So I wanted to, you know, doing that with other people throughout the country it's rewarding.
That's
you know, see
dope,
people
man.
grow.
Are you working with people in other parts now?
All over the country.
Oh, that's cool.
International,
And
too.
How do they get you?
So that's the other beautiful thing.
TomFerryMatch.com.
So this is the funny well, Tom goes out and sells, right? He does all these, you know, events, and you know what he's selling is real. You know, this is how you're going to succeed in real estate. Join, become a coach.
Can we go to one of those?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Next time it's
Yeah, that would be fun.
They're great.
So good. I cut
Do
you
they
off.
do they
No,
have
you're
them
good.
in the city?
I mean, when he's touring, yeah,
Okay.
there was one last
We
year.
can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you guys when there's next one.
Okay.
We'll go to
We'll
it.
get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Good luck.
Come on, Tom.
Challenge accepted.
You'll get him on the podcast.
I'll try. I'll talk to him. So what was I saying?
So he does on the tour, and then when he's on the tour, do you work the event?
So I haven't worked an event yet. No,
Okay.
I can, but I haven't
Yeah.
yet. But what I liked about getting into Tom's organization is, you know, people were constantly asking for a coach through the organization. So what I didn't want to do is do another sales gig. So I had thought about, prior to getting into the organization, starting my own coaching business. Something small, something like team oriented that I help people build their own teams. I just didn't want to do the sales anymore. So I get a new client almost once a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how busy he is.
Sick.
And there's, I think, over 400 coaches in the ecosystem.
Wow.
Yeah, so I like that aspect of it, and they do a really good job of pairing personality goals to the type of coach. So when I get somebody, usually it's a good fit right off the bat.
And how many do you have at
I have
once?
21 coaching
What?
clients right now. Yeah, yep.
And you do weekly calls?
Some are bi-weekly and some are weekly.
What? With 23 people on your team?
Yeah.
That's wild, dude. You sleep?
That's called great organization. That's what that's called.
Wow. Wait,
Yeah.
give us what software? Are we Slack or what are we doing?
Google Calendar.
That's it? Oh my God, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, I need to learn some stuff. I might have to rewatch this episode. That's wild. All right, so you mentioned it a little bit. I do want to get into it. I want to talk about paid lead gen because
Yes.
people are going to watch this. You know, the one thing that's crucial, and it doesn't matter what business you're in, when you wake up in the morning, you have to know what you're doing, right?
Yes.
That's the hardest part. Some people are like, what do I do today? Like, yeah, I know I have to get there, but what do I do?
Yeah.
So, like, I made my calls, I do this. Talk about paid lead gen. Give us the whole thing. Did you think it was BS in the beginning and then you bought into it? Did you find a system to work it? Like, give us, did you try all different ones? Yeah.
So one thing, kind of just one step back from there, KW taught this, I believe in it from a business strategy, red light, green light. So don't spend money you don't have. So make sure you're earning money before you start putting money into
That's a good point.
other systems.
So
like
give us a practical overview of that.
So
It sounds stupid, but I'm...
Well, I mean, there's ways to generate business for free.
So you think people, like, let's say, like, I have nothing in the pipeline, nothing's going on, I'm going to take a gamble and charge $1,200 as Zillow leads is a bad idea.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Especially if you have nothing. I mean, well, it depends where you are in the business too.
Yeah.
Like brand new agents shouldn't do that unless they've been in sales before and they know what they're doing.
Right, but a lot of people aren't told that.
Correct. Yeah, well, especially Zillow.
Yeah.
So I was telling you, when I first got in, I put a list of expireds together, and then I went and tried and find their contact information, right? So that was cumbersome. That took time. I was doing it on floor time at the time, so like, I was having leads come in through floor time, sign calls, this and that, everything. But I spent my time doing research. So once I started monetizing that time and felt good about where my budget was, I purchased a software called Landvoice. So Landvoice has all expired FSBO circle calling.
It's a dialer?
Yeah. No, you can add a dialer, but it gives you the list of expireds and their contact information.
Got it.
So that streamlined, instead of me having to go make a list, I have the list put together for me. It was like $1,000 a year, nothing crazy. But when I'm building my business, $1,000 was a lot of money back then.
Sure.
I still have it to today, and I have my team use it. We have thousands of seller leads through there, and I've always believed in paying for seller leads, not buyer leads. Not to say I haven't paid for buyer leads, but
listen, man, I got burnt all different ways with that stuff. So
well, so seller leads, you're calling somebody that legitimately tried to sell a house, whether it's an expired or a FSBO. So there's a higher level of
what do you
maybe
think?
connection with that.
Interesting question. What is the most common reason it goes expired? Price wrong?
Price. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
It's always price.
Yeah.
Price is dictated by location and condition.
And then is it going to be mainly the client having unrealistic expectations?
Maybe the realtor didn't do a good job,
Do you turn down stuff that's poorly priced? Or that they won't budge on price? Sorry, you're in the hot seat now.
No, it's I haven't turned down a listing in a long time.
Yeah.
I sell my listings when I price them.
I guess
we
my
might have
question
it-
is
we
if
might
they don't
have it-
let you get to your price that you think is...
So I'm going to have a really hard conversation about where the price is.
Right.
And set that expectation. And if we
Right.
want to try something higher, great.
Right.
I could be wrong.
Right.
I'll try something. You know what I mean? Like within reason. In general, if you're 10% or more overpriced, you're not getting any showings. If you're between 5 and 10, you might get some
That happened
trickles.
to us.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
700.
And you were 10% over.
I was wrong. Damn it!
Leave it to the professionals, Chad.
Well, eventually that's what happened. He's my friend, and he's like, "You didn't listen to me." He's like, "I listened to you. Why don't you listen to me?" I was like, "I don't know. Why don't you treat me like
Well, you gotta try. Yeah. Now, one thing that the pandemic changed, at least in my business, is I used to usually price it a little high to leave room for negotiations because I felt like that was the right process. And then pandemic hits, and everything turns into bidding war, no matter where you are. So pricing it actually right on the nose has a better opportunity of getting a bidding war than pricing a little high and negotiating down. You might make more money pricing it to fair market value.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's where I try to price all of my properties now.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then how big are you seeing competition? And I veer off, but suburbs, cities, suburbs still wild?
Suburbs so wild. It's
Wild.
There's no inventory.
It's wild. And you know what else is wild? I'm going to go on record in saying this because I grew up in the Philadelphia suburbs. These 1980 specials, what the hell? Like, you look at
That's all
these
there
homes,
is.
you're like, nothing changed. It's not worth that much. This is crazy. If I knew that, I would have bought them all.
It's desperation buying. I've been looking for 2 years and I just got to buy something.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Not only that, but if you were waiting for the market to shift, it's 20% higher than it was 2 years ago in a lot of areas. So you're now just paying more for the same thing you could have bought 2 years ago if you had just paid a little more.
Yeah.
It's tough out. I don't like it, to be honest with you.
It sucks.
It's not good.
Do you foresee any change in the future? Or
Everything I keep
thoughts?
hearing, the only thing that could change it is building more, and there doesn't seem to be a ton of new construction. Or in a place like Delaware County, there's nowhere to build.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot of places to build, single-family homes anymore.
There's a lot of over 55 that are being built in Bucks,
Yep.
which I don't quite understand. Could you enlighten me?
Well, so the baby boomers are the ones holding on to their houses.
Okay.
So they have the good interest rate because they all refinanced in 2020.
Right.
And they need a place to go. They do need a smaller house.
Right.
They might not get the 55 or older at a good price, but
Right.
they're holding onto their house because their mortgage payments dirt cheap.
Right.
And why not?
Yeah.
And so, I have a listing coming up in Eagleville where the seller finally bought a smaller house, and it's time to sell.
Right.
But they're like one-offs. You know what I mean? Like there's not this mass migration of people that have the big house that don't need it anymore, downsizing. So it's like it trickles in, and it's just not enough. Like the spring markets don't get enough inventory. Because then on the flip side of it, if you're the seller and you have to go buy, then you got to enter this market. And it's like, well, I don't want to get into that. You know what I mean? So it's this bad cycle. The only thing that really helps is people moving out of the area to another area so they don't enter the market as a buyer.
Right.
And that's been now this spring is back to COVID, post-COVID spring. It did dip down in the winter and the fall last year to a more balanced market. Doesn't say that there wasn't bidding wars, but it's back to 10, 13 offers on properties. South Jersey's the same way.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. We have yet to do one where it's like, yeah, you're the only offer.
Yeah.
Nothing. It has to be something wrong with the house. Like, there's got to be something that just
Or it's
doesn't make sense.
overpriced.
Yeah, well, there you go, right? And then you're worried about appraisals, but that hasn't been an issue either.
It's insanity.
It is. It's nuts. So back to the paid stuff. So, So
I started off paying for seller leads.
I like the red light, green light idea.
Yep.
So I'm there. Okay,
Yep.
then you do the seller leads.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I started building the business, and then I had some agents on the team, and I did buy a Zillow zip code, and I was paying, I don't know, $1,000 a month, and getting 8 leads in a month and whatnot.
Well, at what point are you not afraid to spend? When you see consistent.
When you have a budget.
Yeah, when you have a budget.
When you know what you can spend.
Yeah.
And so many
Good point.
agents don't
it
know
sounds,
that.
It sounds logical, but
Yeah. Well, at Zillow, and I'll say this, I like Zillow. I'll tell you about the Zillow Flex, which is another evolution of where we went with it. But you go in there and they're telling you, you need more business. You got to put the money up. Put the money up, and you'll get X amount of leads in this zip code, so on and so forth. So it's a good pitch, and it makes sense if you're trying to grow. But you really got to think about the ROI on it. What is the ROI?
Right.
If I'm spending if I'm spending $12,000 a year, am I making that $12,000 back?
right.
Am I making $24,000? Am I making
Right.
$36,000? What am I making? So you really got to be diligent about that. So we did that for a while, and I was paring that back because the team was doing well in other areas, and then Zillow Flex came in 22, and that's changed buyer lead generation. We get about 150 leads a month through Zillow
Wow.
Flex.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Versus 8.
Wow.
If I was spending money like the premier agent pay for zip codes, that would be easily $100,000 a month in that much business. They value it at about $750 a lead or something like that. So over $100,000 probably.
Wow.
Now we're getting them throughout the entire tri-state area, so it's not just Philly. It's up here. Jim Israel on my team, he's a big Bucks County guy. A lot of Zillow Flex business up here.
Do you have a system for that? Because now is that because I remember at one point I was part of the live thing, so they'd call me and say the guy's on the line, and I'd have like groceries, okay, and then I'd pick it up. How does that work when the lead comes in? Is it just the email and then you reach out, or?
Yeah, they want you to schedule the appointment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the trick to it. And they have a signing tour agreement, so you're protected by NAR with that. So they sign that, and you go show them a house, and then you get them to be your buyer.
Got it.
Okay. You meet them. So once again, it's back to that idea of meeting somebody.
Right.
If you only talk to them on the phone, usually you don't convert them. But if
Right.
you get in front of them and they like you and you
Makes
like them,
sense.
it gets done.
That's a nugget.
Oh yeah.
That's a real
So
big
that's
nugget,
with everything, right?
Yeah.
So that's not just that should be applied to every single client you talk to. Get in front of them.
Yeah.
And then start working with them.
I force it. And when I get group texts, right? Hey, this is so and so, and I'm like, when can we have a time to talk? Yeah. And they're like, why are you forcing to talk? I was like, because if I don't talk to you, it's easy for you to just go to someone else. So, as far as your pie goes for an ideal agent, so paid lead gen, Sphere, what percentage do you think are you allocating or do you teach people to do? Because obviously you want to have a diversity of lead gen, right?
Well, I'd say right now, just going back to Zillow's about 25% of our total business.
25.
Yep.
And is the rest Sphere of influence?
Sphere, open houses, online leads.
And do you
past
teach
clients.
all aspects? Do you teach them how to convert and all of those?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So a new agent coming off the street is going to learn.
Yeah.
What's the process to getting on your team?
I always like to sit down with somebody, find out their goals. So where I'm at now, my ideal agent that's new to the business has prior work experience, that they're in their 30s, have had a couple different career paths, or in the same career, but they're making a shift. They need to understand just where they need to be at in the world. It's hard, a young person right out of college. There's nothing wrong with Gen Z or whatever they are, that generation, but they haven't had it tough yet.
Makes sense.
And in real estate, it's tough. You got to do the hard work in the beginning, and then it gets easier in year 2, year 3, year 4.
It's with any business. Too,
with any
really.
business, absolutely, absolutely. But it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
But if you had a previous career where you've been interacting in business, interacting with people, B2B or whatever, you tend to jump right in.
That's an interesting viewpoint.
It's been spot on with everybody I brought on. And then the other thing is, I want somebody to have a very high financial thermostat. They need to make money, not want to. Everybody wants to make $100,000. I need to make $100,000 to continue my lifestyle. The drive, it will drive them. I don't like them to be coming in broke, because then that's a whole other, you got commission breath. But
That makes sense. dude.
Commission breath?
Commission breath.
I
Oh,
never
yeah.
heard of that.
you never heard commission breath?
No.
Oh yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
You know commission breath, right?
Yeah. I have it.
Title's insulated from commission breath. But you've probably dealt with realtors that are yelling at you that probably have commission breath.
I would
deal's
bet.
falling apart. Yeah.
I would bet.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean they can't clear the title? Just clear it.
Just do it. Who cares?
Yeah, that person probably had commission.
But that's, you know what? It's a refreshing perspective because you're highly selective because they're your brand.
Yeah.
Right? And you actually have figured out. See, and I come back to this, and it's not to knock everybody, but and Nicole and I have had this conversation. The saddest part is just bad leadership and mentorship. Not everyone should be doing it. Right?
Yeah, everybody's a leader.
And you know, people will have commission breath as leaders,
Yes.
right? Where it's just simply they see the dollar signs and they'll let them fill a seat, but they don't work on the quality. And as you grow, retention becomes more and more important, right? And you're not going to do that if they're not succeeding.
Yeah.
And your ability to spot it in the beginning is what makes you the ninja.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was well said.
Yeah, that's really
we
good.
chat GPT that?
Yeah, right?
Actually, I call it Chad GPT.
Chat GPT, yes. Love it.
That's awesome.
No, that's it. I mean, that's because, I have to make sure I don't want to say wasting my time, but if somebody's not going to do well in the industry.
Yeah, no.
That's
fair.
It's also doing them a disservice because they'll be in for 6 months or a year.
Do you think that's the case overall for anyone getting into real estate? Should they have a couple bumps and bruises of the real world? I think so.
I think so too.
So going way back to the beginning when I got licensed, my previous career paths were LA Fitness, where I was a sales rep.
I was a trainer.
You look familiar.
Yeah. Huntington Valley?
No, I was in East Norton and Springfield and
I had a
Havertown.
girlfriend in East Norton.
When were you there?
2008, 2009.
I was there.
Yeah, we may have crossed paths.
Yeah. So that job was brutal, right?
Yeah.
You probably remember the sales reps out giving
yeah.
out 7-day free
Protein
passes.
shakes. Go to
So
the juice bar. What a racket, by the way. Wait, how long did you do that for?
2 years.
So do you know anything about health club sales?
Not really.
Oh, it's a racket. It is a racket. And that's a whole, talk about industry. That's a whole, that's like everyone is dating everyone and cheating on everyone with the trainers and the gun. I'm not saying you did that, but it was wild. It was wild. And I was a trainer, which was a joke because I literally like 1, 2, and I helped people, but the whole thing of how you had to sell them,
that was a lot.
You can't be passionate about selling that. You're just that's commission breath. All over the place.
So one thing that's tied my whole career together is trying to help people. So I justify.
Oh, so you're a better person than I am.
I am.
I think we already established that, but let's just overtly state it.
I had to justify it somehow. Not you, but if you're selling somebody a gym membership, you probably know they're going to come to the gym a few times and then never show up, and then that's how they make their money.
Totally.
It's constant, paying for the, you're not going to the gym now, you're wasting money,
Totally.
right? Yeah. So,
Totally.
So
I drink those shakes though.
You still drink those shakes?
I love them. Yeah.
So I did that for 2 years. Got up to the sales manager role, and just the racket was too much. 8-hour days, no time off.
Yeah.
It was a great job for teaching me, but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I then went to a recruiting firm, and I was doing recruiting in engineering, manufacturing, IT. That job's main function was calling people 60, 100 times a day to find candidates. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. We had resumes, and you had what you were looking for, your job rec, and it was trying to find the person. I graduated from that into B2B sales, and then I was calling the HR directors trying to get requirements in, and then I got laid off. But I had a lot of that.
You're a sales expert at that point.
At that point, I was.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the grind part of
Yes.
it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I remember when I came to KW, and just got to talk to a bunch of people a day, make the phone calls, and so many people wouldn't do it.
100%. You are a very unique specimen because of the fact that you're professionally trained. And when people watch $1 million listings and all that other stuff, they don't realize to get to that point is what you've done, right?
Yeah, I would say yes, and in the random situation, not talking
You
about
get
Ryan
stone
Sharon.
lucky.
You just maybe you just have the connections already, right? And you're good,
Sure.
right? So you can skip the. But I had to build it from 0 to where I am.
Yeah.
There was not. I had had no real estate experience whatsoever.
Well, let's
getting
be
into it.
honest. Like, there's social and there's calculated, right? There is the combination.
Yes.
There's the circle. But you're either a social bug, which we know one guy who literally is the most. He's the most social person I've ever met, even more than me. I'm exhausted by him, and I exhaust myself. And then there's the calculating part, right? Which is just you literally have the systems down. It's ingrained in you. No, you don't like it? Okay, bye. Next guy. You don't like it? Okay, bye-bye. You know, like, and you're
Every
just.
no leads to a yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And you are that, and you're a killer. I love that. That's dope. That's cool. Everyone wants to be a killer, bro. It's just you can't.
Not everybody wants to do the work.
Just gotta do the work. Just gotta do the work.
Yeah,
That's
but it's
it.
not that easy.
I don't know. I think
For you it is.
No, I think it is. I think it's maybe
Conceptually.
the mindset of the rejection is the hardest part.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
definitely.
rejection, and you just got to say that's okay.
Yeah.
That they're not mad at me. It's not personal.
So if you've worn a
know?
clown costume before, you're conditioned for this.
Yeah.
So in our first, you'll have to watch the episode and find more about this comment. But in her past, she went the distance. So.
I was a clown.
Like in an actual circus.
Yeah. No. Well, if you consider my life a circus, yeah.
That's awesome. That's the best. Well, this was
It's
fun.
good
I had a
money.
great time.
That's
You had
great.
fun?
Absolutely.
Was
Thank
this
you.
your first?
I've done one another podcast. Yeah.
Was this the best?
This was definitely the best. This was fun. Happy to be a regular if you need somebody to fill in.
Awesome.
We can do market updates. This
Absolutely.
is great.
Totally.
All right, so tell the good viewers out there, how do they get a hold of you to sling some real estate?
Go to the AragonaGroup.com. That's our website. You can find me on Instagram at Aragona Group, Facebook Matt Aragona, and just Google me and I'm there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Chad,
Appreciate it.
Cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Absolutely.
Want me to close this out?
You can close it out.
All right. You've just watched another edition of the Rockstars podcast. We are here live at the Rockstar Vault in beautiful Bucks County. Stay tuned for more. Follow us at the Rockstar Closers, right? Rockstar Closers YouTube.
That's right.
All right. Over and out to our British producer back there. Peace.
So how you gonna do it? I'm gonna trade my clerk for a Rockstar dame. I'd even get my brother to change his game. Cause we all just wanna work with top rock stars and sell some hilltop houses closing 15 more. The cities come easy and the closings go quick. We'll all stay busy cause we just don't quit. And